Good morning, guys, and welcome to another episode of Cryptic Crypto. Today I'm going to be talking all things XCN and CRV. Please like and subscribe. We're at 245 followers. Really want to get to 250 by Sunday. And for me as a small channel, it really helps keep motivated to do these videos on a daily basis. We've only been going for 10 days, and I'm already very happy with the results we're having. So let's crack straight on into it. So XCN up 11.1%, CRV a bit of a pullback. Excellent, absolutely smashing it. For anyone who's been watching my channel, we've kind of called XRP and XCN breaking out for a while now, but let's have a little look. Look, I posted this online literally yesterday. I was like, we're breaking, come on, it's money time. And that's what we want. When we actually look at this in terms of, it's obviously triangle at the moment, that's a symmetrical triangle. We've obviously broken out. We've been trading within this for a while now. Finally broken up to the outside, and we're looking at generating some targets. Now, if we actually break that down and look at some of the indicators in terms of like 24-hour volume, we've had a nice spike in volume across the whole board within crypto at the moment. Obviously, Bitcoin and everything else like that's doing really well. But normally it takes quite a while for, the liquidity or the money to come into some of these smaller cap coins like XCN. But we saw for the last couple of days, a good spike in terms of trading volume, and that's what we want. That's what we're desperate for in XCN. To be fair, if we want to get to the 10 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents kind of targets, we need volume. And it's great to see that, that we've peaked the last 2 days in terms of volumes, roughly 21 million a day. We haven't been there since, May. Obviously we want to get back to the 30s, 40s, 50 million a day, but that's really good to see from a price action target, because cool, we're at 1.7 cents from that perspective. We want to be going back up to the 5 cents, and that would be my medium term goal, is getting back to where we were in sort of January time. But that is brilliant to see. And one of the other things I wanted to kind of highlight was the fact that, just on the short time frame, when I say short time frame, since April, against Bitcoin, predominantly we've been trading down and down and down and down. So this is basically, how many XCN does it take for us to buy a Bitcoin? We have finally broken this line of resistance as well. There's a chart I've been looking at for a while, really basic TA, just in terms of going like, cool, are we going to break above this line? Are we going to print outside of this line? You can wick above and come back down. That doesn't improve the sentiment. But what we've actually done is we've broken this line of resistance. We're beginning to print to the upside. We could test back down before pushing back up. But when we actually look at XCN and we look at the kind of pricing structure that we've been looking at so far and where we want it to get to, and then when we look at, if we look at the RSI as well, the relative strength index, you can tell we're kind of we're not in overbought, but you can see, look, we're trending to the upside in terms of interest in the coin, which is great to see, as well as, that, like I said this the other day, like I want staking APR to be lower. When it's at 30-35%, it really does increase the opportunity for short-term holders or people to be selling their bags every single day and creating selling pressure that we do not need in the market. Now, my view is a lower staking APR means people are less likely to sell it as much, more likely to obviously retain it, hodl it, trade it, etc. And that's what we want to see. We don't want these really high APRs. If you actually believe in the future of XCN, 30-35% is fantastic. If you are looking to exit and get your return on your investment really quickly from a staking APR perspective, if the price remains the same. But what we're really looking for, right, is we want to be going all the way back up to where we were back in January and above, if we're honest. That's where we want to go. We want to be back up to this level, back up to around about 5 cents. From that perspective, and our short-term, targets are roughly around 3 cents and pushing up again 7 cents, 10 cents. Now, if we continue with this volume, and the volume, has increased the last couple of days, there really is an opportunity with that, especially with some of the bullish sentiment. If we go through and we actually look at some of the stuff here, which I think is awesome, like look, this guy, never heard of him. Like and subscribe to this geezer as well, because it's a really good post. XCN ETH chart shows a strong uptrend with price breaking above key resistance. Obviously, yeah, 1.7. Sorry, you know, when I'm using American terminology and it's that low, it's difficult for me to really articulate it correctly. But support by bullish moving averages. So if we look at the SMAs, which we're going to look at again, and the RSIs and the overboughts, suggesting a potential pullback, while the MACD indicates strong upward momentum with widening historic bars. Volume has increased significantly, as we just mentioned, confirming buying interest. Now, RSI, if you go back and you look at Bitcoin or anything like that, when it is in the overbought territory, that's generally when, you know, we're looking at it pushing higher and higher, and often it stays in that zone for quite a while. Obviously, if it's there for ages, you know, you do begin to get a bit of concern around, cool, I need to take some profits. But just look at this chart, you know, like look at the RSI, cool, we're in the kind of overbought territory. The MACD, you know, we're trending to the upside, price wise fantastic, you know, against obviously ETH. And you know, it's just a really good chart when you're like, cool, I'm looking at bullish sentiment, where are we going, what do I think it is? Money Tings, again, you know, new to me, but I'm pretty sure he's quite closely followed within the XCN, within the XCN community. But look, it looks like we're going to have a, you know, a golden golden cross. Now, one of the things I would say is when people look at golden crosses and stuff, normally that's after the event. So it's saying that there's been bullish momentum, we're pushing the upside, and sometimes what you do is you see it come back down before we push back up. It's not like what I'd say is a forward thinking indicator. A lot of people, when they see, you know, obviously the black swan events, etc., and stuff like that, often by the time you see a cross, it's too late. Obviously, anyone that's kind of an XCN right now is in a good position from that perspective, as well as, you know, on coin market cap. You know, XCN they've literally just successfully reached their 500 million market cap, which, when you think about it, for the bullish momentum and, you know, for what people are actually indicating on this channel, I mean, you know, and the interest, like we're now trending in the top 10 coins on coin market cap, you know, just below Sol. That is huge for a 500 million pound market cap, or dollar market cap, you know, coin. Being in the top 10 is huge. 16.27%, obviously in 24-hour volume, massive. Really, really bullish on XCN. Like I said, just to recap, we've broken, you know, obviously the pairing with Bitcoin. We've also broken out of, you know, a consolidation phase that we have been in since, you know, January, really, of this year. That is huge. Normally, the longer we consolidate, the further the price will push up. So from my perspective, all of this is bullish. And I know, you know, like on that gentleman's chart, he obviously put, oh, look, this is kind of greed. When you go, oh, you know, the price is going to fluctuate, and you can see it quite clearly there. We're not there yet. In my opinion, when I look at this RSI, you know, we need to break above this before, you know, enter the greed phase. And like I said, if we actually marry up here, when greed or overbought on the RSI was signaling, we were going up and up and up. Okay, we double topped and then we came down. Those are the kind of indicators I'll be looking for, is, you know, not just looking at RSI, not just looking at MACD, not just looking at volume. You need a combination of all these things, not just looking at like simple TA in terms of plotting lines on your chart and looking at key lines of resistance and support. Because right now, you know, we are pretty much at quite a key level, like 1.7 cents. It's gonna kill me, honestly, trying to work that out. You know, but we, like, the next targets for us to push up to is above 2 cents, which is awesome. Like, for any of you guys that have been dollar cost averaging through these processes, you will be significantly up at this, especially if you've been staking at, you know, the 35% that I've been. So that's just to give you a bit of an overview of XCN. Now, another coin that I'm really interested in, and I kind of wanted to dual wheel today, because, you know, CRV is also looking incredibly bullish from that perspective. I mean, just look at this chart. We had a long trend line that was acting as support consistently since, God, you know, since November of last year. We've that acted as support again. We also had this falling pennant that is again a bullish indicator for the market, and around about 70% of them normally break to the upside. As you can see here, we broke to the upside. We're in a really good position now to be pushing further up the chart with, you know, kind of key targets at that sort of 70 cents line. And as I've mentioned in my videos before, there is no reason why this can't go to $5, $10, $15 in my opinion. I'm incredibly bullish on CRV as well as on XCN. You know, XCN, I know some of you guys like it's going to go to a dollar, etc. and stuff like that. Look, being honest, you know, I'd be happy if we hit sort of, you know, 10 cents plus. You know, just looking at the indicators and where we've kind of been, and this is just very rough, by the way, I'm just doing this really quickly. Just from a short-term perspective, or mid-term perspective, you know, saying that we should be, you know, looking at 18 cents as kind of one of our mid-term goals. You know, and I think that sounds about right, to be honest with you. Yes, we could get to $40, but that's still a huge increase in terms of pricing. I mean, anyone that's, you know, got in now and exits at that price should be euphoric in terms of that. And obviously anything above that is brilliant. And when we actually look at CRV and where CRV's pricing has been before, and we go all the way back to the very beginning, you know, we've already been above, you know, I know it's right at the start when it was $23 a coin. Why can't we get there before? There's all this bullish momentum, and when we break it and we actually look again at CRV Bitcoin, we're broken out of that chart. So CRV and XCN, as of right now, are beginning to outperform Bitcoin. That's what we want to see, and this is just flipped green. That was red when I was looking at this earlier. These are really, like, when you're looking at your coins, like, one thing I'd always recommend is looking at his Bitcoin pairing, because you want to know, is it outperforming Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin, you know, some people have got targets of like 240, 250. So realistically, a 2x from where we are now. Now, if you want to make the most amount of money in this market, which ultimately I'm sure everyone here is for, you want the majority. Well, you want Bitcoin because it's the one, you know, it's the golden goose. It's what everyone's talking. It's where all these big companies are investing in. But you, like, if you're investing in altcoins, you should be investing in altcoins when they are breaking their Bitcoin pairing and when they are showing a bit of an uptrend. So for me, you know, we've got into these trades nice and early from a futures perspective, and we're already beginning to print some money, which kind of leads me on to, if we look at CRV from that perspective, I've looked at this loads. Accumulation schematic, wick-off events and phases. I agree with, again, CP Nasty, to be fair. What a lad. He's saying 12 billion market cap coming soon for CRV. Now look at it. It literally looks tailor-made. Cool. Phase A. We're going through this. Yeah, that looks right. Phase B. Okay, we're accumulating. People are accumulating. Nice. Cool. LPS. Phase C. Going up, etc. Breaking the resistance lines and going to the upside. It literally looks like a mirror image. If you look at phase D, that's obviously where it looks like we're going. And this is incredibly bullish signals. This is where it's saying, like, look, cool, there's an accumulation phase of people obviously getting more and more coins, etc. and stuff like that before we push to the upside. And already CRV, if we break it down and we actually look at the chart, again, I've kind of messed it up by zooming into the absolute zoomathon. You know, from where we thought it was going to go to where we are now, it's up 30%. And on our KuCoin trade, you know, we have 5x leverage on that bad boy, so we're 150% up on our trade, which is where you want to be, right? You want to be in the coins that you think are outperforming the others, and you want to be, if you can, low leverage whilst also retaining your spot bags to mitigate your risks with stop losses and taking profits on the upside, where you're like, cool, I'm outperforming the market. Only about 5% of the overall market actually outperform it, which you know, you want to be one of them. Again, guys, like XCN, stake volume, APR down, bullish, breaking out of this long trend which we've been in since April in terms of, or even you could go back if you didn't count the wicks, you know, January, Pretty sure it probably flows quite well. Yeah, look. Literally since January, it's the first time we've broken above this trend line, really, and printed above it, because wicking above it doesn't prove it. You need to print on the outsides. Do not enter trades just because so many people do enter trades where we go, oh, we're smashing it, and then we wick back down on the same day, and that is not good. And this is a daily chart. Look, we wicked above it. Cool. We haven't finished today. We'd want to print above this to prove that we're on that sort of bullish momentum. We can obviously retest this line and push to the upside, but when we're looking at a Bitcoin pairing, that is awesome for the money that you're trying to make. Again, breaking out of this trend, everything is pointing to bullish. RSI bullish in my opinion. We're not an overbought. It's just showing that the volume in there and people are gaining interest. Top 10 interest for coins that people are actually out there looking at right now, bullish. There's a lot of market sentiment, guys, and if you're not in XCN, do your own research and take a look. But like I said, all I wanted to do was literally just do a really quick video, just to show you a bit about XCN, a bit about CRV. Yes, on CRV, cool, it's saying on the daily, despite my chart saying that we are actually up. I believe that is actually the case. Maybe it's based on American, I don't know. From that perspective, we are trending in the right direction with a short-term target of sort of 86 cents, because this chart pattern, normally what you do is you once you break below, once you start breaking above, your initial target is around the same neckline. Cool, guys, I hope you liked the video. It's just a short one, like I said, just to give you a bit of an overview of where I'm at just in terms of XCN and CRV and their Bitcoin pairs. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm only 5 off the target of 250 for this week. We've only been going for sort of 10 days straight. We're printing money on the daily in terms of our trades from the 500 to 5,000, which I'll be giving you updates later on. We've broken this. It's time to make some money. Appreciate your time. Have a good weekend. Peace.